Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking the staggering scale, the relentless drive, and the highly unique philosophies of one of the most transformative figures in modern history, Jeff Bezos. We're going to break down exactly how he built his massive empire, what really drives his decision-making, and where he's pointing humanity next. $280 billion. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. As of April 2026, that is where Jeff Bezos' net worth hovered. It's a scale of wealth that's honestly almost impossible to wrap your head around. But look, this explainer isn't just about the money. It's about the relentless machinery, the calculated risks, and the very specific mental frameworks that actually generated this unimaginable fortune in the first place. His footprint is incredibly vast. Now, we all know Amazon, right? The absolute juggernaut of retail, cloud computing, and AI. But look at the rest of this empire. From building actual rockets with Blue Origin, to owning a historic media institution like the Washington Post, to investing in life extension biotechnology with Altos Labs, and even AI manufacturing through Project Prometheus. It's an empire that touches almost every single facet of our future. Section 1, Regret Minimization, the framework that started it all. To truly understand this empire and how it all came to be, we have to rewind back to 1994. Back then, Bezos was 30 years old working a lucrative, guaranteed job at a Wall Street hedge fund called D.E. Shaw. But then he came across a staggering statistic. He read that usage of the early World Wide Web was growing at a rate of 2,300% a year. He realized instantly that this was a once-in-a-lifetime planetary alignment, and he knew he had to build a business to harness that unprecedented explosion. So how do you just walk away from a guaranteed fortune on Wall Street to start a super risky internet business? Well, Bezos used a mental model he calls the regret minimization framework. He basically asked himself, when I'm 80, am I going to regret leaving Wall Street? No. Will I regret missing the beginning of the internet? Yes. He realized that the fear of failure shouldn't stop him, because the only thing that would truly haunt him was not trying at all. That exact framework gave him the courage to just pack up and go. He and his then-wife Mackenzie drove a Chevy Blazer all the way across the country to Seattle. They set up shop in a garage, literally building desks out of wooden doors from Home Depot just to save cash. And when he asked his parents to invest their $300,000 life savings into his idea, he was brutally honest. He explicitly warned them that there was a 70% chance they would lose every single penny. Section 2. Building the Everything Store. Forging a culture of customer obsession. Spoiler alert, his parents didn't lose that money. They were betting on Jeff. But man, the journey was chaotic. I absolutely love this story. In the early days, they had so many orders coming in that they were just utterly unprepared. Employees, including Bezos himself, were on their hands and knees packing boxes on a hard concrete floor late into the night. Bezos turned to an employee and brilliantly suggested they go buy knee pads. The employee just looked at him and said, "No, we need packing tables." They bought tables the very next day and instantly doubled their productivity. The crucial point here is that those grueling, chaotic early days completely locked in a relentless, obsessive focus on the customer. Because they were personally packing the boxes, they physically felt the urgency to deliver. And that hands-on urgency evolved into Amazon's ultimate mission statement: to be Earth's most customer-centric company, constantly prioritizing customer satisfaction and long-term market share over any short-term profits. From that tiny Bellevue garage in '94, the growth just exploded. They went public just 3 years later in 1997. And when the dot-com bubble burst, Amazon didn't just survive it. They innovated right through it. In 2002, they launched Amazon Web Services, which practically built the modern cloud internet we use today. By 2007, they released the Kindle, fundamentally changing how we read. Step by step, they became an absolute digital juggernaut. But as you can imagine, that immense, rapid growth brought some really intense scrutiny, especially around labor practices and wealth inequality. In 2018, politicians, including Senator Bernie Sanders, heavily criticized the company, even going so far as to introduce the Stop Bezos Act. In response to this mounting public and political pressure, Amazon actually made a historic move. They raised their minimum wage for all U.S. workers to $15 an hour, which was a massive shift for the retail industry at the time. Section 3, the Day One Philosophy. How to avoid corporate death. As Amazon swelled to hundreds of thousands of employees, a totally new threat emerged: bureaucracy. To avoid becoming slow and complacent, Bezos insists that a company must always operate with the urgency, risk tolerance, and customer obsession of a day-one startup. Because if you look at the trajectory of corporate decline, it's pretty scary. If you slip into day 2 stasis, it inevitably pulls you down into day 3 irrelevance, then day 4 excruciating decline, and finally, day 5, death. To survive, it literally has to be day 1 every single day.
So how do you maintain that agile day one energy? He brought in some incredibly strict, kind of quirky management tactics. First up, the 2-pizza rule. If a team can't be fed by 2 pizzas, it's too big and it's going to be too slow. Second, he outright banned presentation slides in executive meetings. I know, a bit ironic as I'm explaining this to you right now, but instead, he requires dense 6-page narrative memos. Executives literally sit and read them in complete silence at the start of the meeting. It forces deep, critical understanding over flashy surface-level presentations.
Section 4. Space, Media, and Beyond. Phase 2 of the Bezos empire. Those day 1 frameworks turned Amazon into a trillion-dollar entity. But in 2021, Bezos actually stepped down as CEO to dedicate his resources to what comes next. And it's fascinating how radically his focus has broadened. He isn't just focused on selling books or cloud storage anymore. He is looking at massive civilization-level problems. We're talking about revitalizing media through the Washington Post, trying to unlock cellular rejuvenation to conquer aging with Altos Labs, and pushing the very boundaries of AI in heavy manufacturing with Project Prometheus. He's also directing his vast wealth towards solving major global crises. While he definitely faced criticism in his earlier years for a lack of philanthropy compared to his billionaire peers, he's made a massive financial pivot recently. He's committed $10 billion to the Bezos Earth Fund to fight climate change and another $2 billion to the Day One Fund, which focuses on helping homeless families and creating preschools in low-income areas. But if you want to know his deepest, oldest childhood passion, it is absolutely space. Back when he was a high school valedictorian, he literally gave a speech about colonizing space to save the Earth. Fast forward to today, and he liquidates roughly $1 to $2 billion of his Amazon stock every single year just to fund Blue Origin. The ultimate goal? Substantially lower the cost of space travel, move heavy industry off our planet to preserve Earth's natural resources, and establish an enduring human presence in the solar system. He believes in this mission so deeply that, in July 2021, he actually put his own life on the line. He climbed aboard Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket alongside his brother and flew 66.5 miles above the Earth into suborbital space. And this wasn't just some billionaire joyride. It was a proof of concept for the reusable rocket technology his company had spent 2 decades painstakingly building. Which really leaves us with the ultimate question. When the history books are written a century from now, will Jeff Bezos be remembered simply as the billionaire who conquered commerce and built the everything store? Or will his regret minimization framework and that relentless day 1 obsession make him the pioneer who preserved Earth and pushed humanity out into the stars? Think about how you might apply that same exact drive to your own life. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the future.